Little screens and stuff. Okay, I can't hear.
What you trying to hear?
Hey, girl.
Hey.
Yes. Hey, everybody. It's another Wednesday.
Yes.
And we are back. Hey, sugar. You done made it back home.
Yes. We be traveling.
Hey, we be on location.
Yes, we be traveling.
Hey, everybody. I hope y'all are doing super fantastic today. It is the middle of the month, and it's Wednesday again. And Kiki then left Atlanta and got back to Baltimore safely.
Yes.
We had a ball while she was here.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we did. It was
I'm
awesome.
so glad that you enjoyed yourself.
I did.
Look, y'all, we got our shirt. Listen.
We official.
We official.
official.
We official. Listen.
Oh my gosh.
Don't play with us.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do. We got business to take care of. So, Key, we got a guest today. I'm super excited.
Yes, we do. We have.
Excited. Please tell us a little bit about our guests. We got a couple things to talk about tonight, y'all. Just it's a lot been going on. A lot.
Yes.
And we're gonna address it today.
Go ahead. See, that's my yin to my yang. Now, fussing.
We is going to address it today. So today, guys, we definitely want to talk about turning our pain to purpose. So talk to us, Key, about our guests. I'm excited.
Yes, I am as well. We have our sister mom, Michelle Hines, on with us this evening. Oh my gosh, Michelle is so powerful. I won't say strong because strong is
I can't hear anything.
We can hear you, sugar. You can hear us? No? Let's see. Michelle, can you hear us?
Turn your volume.
Let's see why not. Well, Key, while she trying to.
Okay, now I can hear you guys. Yeah, because what's going on?
Scared me. Okay, we got, as y'all can see, our sister mom, Michelle Hines, in honor of her precious angel, her 16-year-old son, Isaiah Carter. And I already told Michelle, can't nobody tell her story better than her. So we are going to allow her to introduce herself to you all. Hi, Michelle, and welcome.
Hey, thank you. And it's nice meeting you as well. Yep. So I was surprised. I couldn't hear anything. But yes, so my name is Michelle Hines. My son was the young man who was at Patterson High School last year and lost his life to an adult that was on campus who did, murder my child basically on the campus. A part of my story is that I'm extremely upset that if you're from Baltimore City, then you know that like the park right there in front of the school is on the Patterson, campus. And one of the things that media has tried to allude to is that he had left out of the building and somehow that put my child at fault. But my reality is like knowing that I don't like Baltimore City schools anyway. I don't think they're safe enough. I don't necessarily think the education is adequate. However, in comparison to a lot of other states, we are better than a good amount. One of my issues was that we're forced to put our children, and any parent in Baltimore City, we all have the same concerns about our kids going to these schools. And to get a call that my child, who I expected to come home, did not make it back home, and there was nothing that I could do. Mind you, when the 2022-2023 school year started, a young man lost his life at Mervo High School the second week. That was my kids' both my sons' first year of high school. And I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm not even sending y'all back. But, there are truancy laws and there are rules. So we're forced to do this. And another thing that really peeved me off was that I didn't watch one thing that I've been really big on because I work in mental health as well. I don't expose myself to stuff that I already know is going to like really mess my head up. So after losing my kid, I didn't look at the news. I didn't turn on the TV at all. I didn't want to know what they were saying. I didn't want to know what news reporters were trying to report on. And the first thing when I did turn the news on to hear Dr. Santelises saying, well, kids will be kids and we can't monitor them. If they decide to leave, well, then they leave. And to me, it kind of added this like negative story to my child leaving campus as if he was a problem child. But fortunately, I have been able to be his voice. I have been able to share his story. Even with the Crime Stoppers ad, which came out about a couple days after I lost them. And they, they're like, yeah, send us a picture of your kid. Send us a picture of your son. And then shortly after they said, well, never mind, don't send us a picture. Because they didn't have any pictures of him being any kind of bad boy. Because I didn't have a bad boy. He was a kid. He was a new teenager. And he had only been 16. His birthday was December 20th, 2022. He had turned 16 years old. He lost his life only 2 months later in March. The hardest part of all of this has been, having to deal with the media like other parents have had to deal with, having to deal with, messages from parents who did lose themselves so much. And then other parents who have been, strong, where they're making it through and they give you a whole lot of hope. And in those moments, with like being a year into it now, it's like, okay, I feel like I am a survivor. I feel like I do want to share my story. So again, thank you, Kiki, for reaching out. Because in moments like this, like even after Mother's Day, for me going through this huge transition, dealing with hearing the way my son's story was projected, hearing how they didn't want to share a picture of him. It's like we all know about this stuff, but until you live it, you do not know. So it's easy to be aware that our stories aren't as prominent as our counterparts within America, but to really be the product of this kind of situation. And I feel like I had a personal fable because you couldn't have told me this was going to happen to me. To have cousins, relatives, friends, criminals who are like, your son, really? To have all of the school staff that called me when news reporters were trying to contact them, to have friends of the family calling me like, they knocked on my door looking for you. And I'm like, wow, it is a dog-eat-dog world out here. These people do not care. They are so desensitized that they're only worried about the next big story, the next media thing to get likes and views and whatever it is that they need. But meanwhile, the parents, we're living this. Our grief does not end when the news reports stop. Our grief doesn't end when the cousins, the aunties, the friends of the family, those people who care so much about you, start dealing with their own grief. Like, this is the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. And also like the idea of homicide, which is a whole, like another treacherous trauma, because we have to deal with the fact that My child was taken at 16 years old. I was just watching him blossom into a young adult. I was watching him take all these lessons that I've mentored other kids about, taught other kids, and I was experiencing it. And to have this ripped from me was so hard, and it's still hard. To get compliments that, well, you keep speaking out and you keep trying to advocate for them, and that's such a great thing, and don't slow down. Oh, I'm not going to, because I can't. Moments like this, and like you said, pain's a purpose. Moments like this, I feel like my purpose is to share my story with other parents, because moms like Kiki, moms like the women in Moms Demand Action, like moms like the mothers that I've met through Let's Thrive, like all of these different organizations, these parents I've met, they've given me so much hope and so much strength. Because in the beginning, despite the fact that I was on the news a lot, it didn't take away my pain. It just made me feel like I can't shut up, because I need my son's story to be highlighted. I need y'all to pay attention to where it was. This wasn't behind the school. This wasn't far away from the school ground. This was on the Patterson High School campus. Why aren't y'all giving me the same attention you would have given my white counterparts in Baltimore City? When I sat here and I was doing my research, and Ivan Bates, after becoming elected, he stated any crime that happens within 1,000 feet of a school is considered a school crime, which opened up, all these different news outlets to starting to do more research on school violence and, campus crimes and such. Why don't y'all give that attention to my child's case? To know that I've met so many women who the murderers, and this is too common, to get away because of small technicalities, or a police officer messed up or something else, that really peeved me off. Like, I was like, are you serious? And then even getting to year 1 and knowing that in my son's case, the murderer has tried to do the same thing. Because there's a quote unquote language barrier, he's trying to state that, he's not aware of how to even speak English, and he probably wasn't competent of committing the crime. You're not a child. You are a 23-year-old man when you did this. You're going on 25 now. This man has gang tattoos all over his neck and his face. And even going through that hard lesson, because for me, I'm a sponge. So all I'm doing is sucking in information every chance I get. To find out that news outlets try to humanize the murderers of any victim. Like, what? I was so taken aback, because that was another thing. Like, they tell you, your homicide detective in my case said, don't look at news media. Don't open up YouTube or Facebook. Don't look online. And there's only so much time, because when I hear the school board director saying, well, kids will be kids, we can't watch them at all times. What's your job then? You don't go to Baltimore County, Montgomery County, or any other county or any other state and expect to hear that children are getting murdered near their schools. But in 2023, I guessed something bad might happen. I'd even told them, how are you guys going to make sure my son is safe when at the rate we're going now, there are 2 to 3 children murdered a month during the school year? 2 to 3 children. How am I supposed to know my kid is safe when he just got into his first fight? Y'all are telling me that there's an influx in child crime, youth violence, and kids getting weapons. How do I know this kid may not come back and hurt my child? Mm-hmm. Instead, it was an adult. Dealing with that kind of grief is something, it's unbearable. And no amount of strength that a mother like me, like Kiki, or anyone else alludes to, whatever we project and show, our grief does not stop. It literally is a constant reminder every day when you don't hear your child. To have people who, I didn't understand how folks would say things like, well, try to be happy or try to think of the good times. That is so triggering. Are you crazy? It was my child. There was nothing but good times. Even the bad moments were good moments when I know that I will never get to see you in person again. So it's like people don't understand all that goes into what this looks like. But it is definitely an extreme, like even finding purpose after the fact, trying to find a reason to, get up. Like I have my other 2 children, and it's not a need of I don't want to be there for them because all I can do is be there for them. I lost a brother to the same kind of crime, and I was in the 6th grade. I watched my mother go through trauma. I watched her as she started drinking alcohol and losing herself, and every night crying, saying that, she needed to go back and be with him. Her son needed her. He needed her support. He didn't know, this wasn't right for him. And I'm like, no, Mom, you got to slow down. You still have 2 more kids. I know you love us. You don't mean this stuff. But it's like, for me, I was 11 and I swore that if I ever went through this kind of trauma, I would never put my kids through that. So having to like really focus on them and trying to be a good parent, which is crazy hard. Like, when you lose someone, you really just want to stop. Because for us, the world stops spinning. But the reminder is that every single day it's still moving. Grief only stops the world for the people who are feeling it. Meanwhile, everybody else, bills still have to be paid. Jobs still have to be adhered to. We don't live in a society where you even get time off after having a baby. So it's like, this has been the hardest trauma that I've been through. It's been the hardest experience that I've ever been through. I feel like at this point, I'm constantly climbing and figuring out the next steps. And there are times when I feel like I don't have purpose. And then I'm reminded, because I'm still here, that I have more, like there's more for me to offer. There's more to look forward to. There's more awareness that needs to be shared. To get a call from different people who are like, did you see that now all Baltimore City schools have security now? I feel like this is because you kept on pressuring them about this. But why did it take that? If all of us have been living in this city, and even the ones of us who've gone to school in this city and high school, we know how horrible it is. To me, it made no sense. But for me, this has been a growth journey, a grief journey, and just a lesson. Because with every single thing that I'm going through, with thinking of my son, with thinking of his memory, with thinking of his name, I'm constantly trying to figure out, what can we do next? I'm constantly speaking with other mothers who think that I'm so strong, or I'm made of like armor or something. And I'm like, well, thank you for feeling that way. Because what y'all look at is strength, I look at it and I'm like, I just got to get to the next step. I just got to make it to the next day, the next moment, the next big thing. And then in my case, I am pregnant now, which I thought was crazy, because God will do it. Because the way that I was feeling, I was just like, you know what? I told my mother, she passed in 2018. And I said, you know what, Mom? Told you I'd have another kid, but that is done. After losing a child, I will never again have another child. I'm finished completely. And I found out November 2023 that I was pregnant. My son's birthday would have been in December. And even having to navigate through having like controlled grieving, where I put myself on a timer regularly to just give myself an hour or two to just feel what I'm feeling. Because I know that I can't throw myself into this grief every single day. Knowing that if I did want to not be a good adult, if I did want to lose myself a little bit, well, now I don't really have the opportunity, because my body is not my own. I'm the vessel for somebody else. I gotta focus on what's next. I gotta focus on what's right. Oh, my phone. But this has just been, it's definitely been a lot in a short amount of time that I've had to deal with. And it's been a lot of learning and looking towards other people, other mothers like you, Kiki, and other mothers who can share a story with me, letting me know, like, I've been there. I know exactly what you're feeling. And I made it. Because some of us don't make it. Some of us are still lost. Some of us lose our families. Because to go through this kind of grief, to carry a child, to groom your child, to watch them start becoming a young adult, and then to have to deal with them no longer being here, it is not easy at all. Like, it is literally, I lost my mother 2018. I lost my father 2020. And I was like, God, what was this for? What was this for? What was I supposed to learn from this? Because there was nothing for me to learn. I can't even call my mama and cry about it. And I feel like now the lesson was that I was able to make it through losing my parents because I was getting prepared for the largest and biggest loss that any parent or person can go through. And that is the loss of a child, which is so unbearable that if it hadn't been for me going through my mother's loss really bad, I wouldn't have known what to stay away from because I did lose myself when I lost her. And then when going through my losing my child, I'm like, okay, I can't be my children's strength, but I can be stronger for them. I can't lie to them and make them think that I'm going to be okay because that would be a complete lie. I have to just be completely honest with them, completely transparent. I have to remind them that when you hear me crying, I don't want you to get sadder. I try to avoid that sometimes so they wouldn't hear me at first. And that's not transparency and honesty. And we're living in a society where kids and people are so desensitized to everything that I have to be transparent with them. I have to be honest with them. I have to remind them your grief will never look like mine, and I don't want it to. I don't want you to know how I feel, but I want you to understand that I'm going to be grieving for the rest of my life. And however this comes on to you guys, be open and honest enough with me because, I was a sibling too. I lost my brother in 2000. And I didn't go to my mother and tell her about how sad I was because I saw how messed up she was about it. So I reminded my kids, no matter how bad this is, come to me and talk. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you have dreams about them, when you want to talk about them, when you have memories of them, let that be your truth. Because I don't want you to forget. Y'all are so young, you don't realize that in the next couple of years, things that you think you can hold on to, you might not be able to. So this has definitely been a whole lot in such a brief amount of time. And it has been the craziest, unfortunate eye opener that I've ever been experienced in my life. I'm sorry, was that too much?
Oh my gosh, no. That is your truth. That is your journey. And that's what this platform is for. We can't tell it for you, but I am pretty sure, and I hope I'm not putting my sister on a spot because, and it is not about an age thing or anything, but Dante was 22. And I am going to put my sister on the spot right now because Dylan was younger than Dante, not much older than Isaiah. So I don't want to make you cry, sis, but
No, I'm good. I'm good. Michelle, one, I just want to say thank you for being open, being transparent, and agreeing to come on. I know this takes a lot. We tell everybody every weekend, every weekend, every week, that every time that we come here, we open up, right? And, not to always repeat our story, but when we have guests on, we just want to make sure that they understand even why we're here because me and Key, we have the same story because Dante and Dylan was taken the same day, same time, 700 miles away. But yes, Dylan was 18, just graduated high school, about to go literally the next day to sign up and go in the military. And, he was taken for no reason. So, we appreciate, this is very fresh for you. It's very new, but I applaud you for being strong enough. Not, I know everybody uses the word strong for us, and we don't feel that, but strong enough to keep talking and keep being that voice for him, because a lot of parents can't do that. And I am one that is a little in your shoes. I've lost my dad, I've lost two brothers, I've lost a sister. I lost a niece, and of course, the biggest loss we could ever imagine is I've lost a son. So, this week has been extra challenging because, or last week to this week, um, and just it's on the news all over the place. The young man that was killed in Florida by the police officer at his house,
Mhm.
um, military guy. Well, they went to our church, and they, because I live in Georgia. So Michelle, if you didn't know, I'm in Atlanta, but I'm
Right. I
from
knew you were
Baltimore.
further.
Yeah, but I'm from Baltimore. So they go to our church, and the because I'm associated with some of the pastors and all that, so they gave her, the mother, my phone number. So we've been communicating back and forth, but there is a time, and all of this is this legal issues, and now funeral issues, and all the things that go along with, like your case, in the media, um, and it's always on the news, and you have to be reminded all the time because you have to say what happened all the time. It has been very overwhelming for her. So in those sense, we have to ourselves protect our mental health. So like I won't be going to the funeral. I can't. I don't do it because I have to protect my mental health because I wouldn't be no good for nobody anyway if I did go. Um, but we have to be able to speak out for our kids and be that voice that they can't be. And in her time, they shot that man in his own house. He in his own house. And then you found out you was in the wrong house. So this is, what our topic is: turning the pain into purpose. Again applaud you for being able to walk this walk and still fight for his voice to be heard because he was where he was supposed to be, at school. How dare you say, well, we can't control? He was where he was supposed to be, at school. And not a child, but an adult that you guys were not, sorry, were not uh, visual enough to have security and the things that's supposed to protect our kids at school that you didn't do, but now it's his fault. The devil is a lie. So I again applaud you for that, and it's just you know it's it's one of those things that you look at, and you're pregnant now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know it don't feel that way. It don't feel that way. But you'll find in this journey, there's things that will that we'll say, and you'll be like, "Whoa, I was thinking that too." Because at one point, when I lost, and sometimes I have to rethink about words that I say, right? Because I didn't lose him. He wasn't lost. I knew exactly where he was. So, you have to remember some of the things that you say. But when Dylan was taken, because that's what happened. Um, one mind said, he didn't have any kids. Like Dante didn't have any kids. So we don't have. My first thought was, oh, I wish he had a baby so that I could have something of his. But then how selfish is that? Because then that baby would be without a father.
Right.
So, this journey has you upside down and turned around all kinds of ways. But and you'll learn me because I'm sorry that you're in this family, but you're here now, so we're your sisters, right? So you'll learn me on because I'm that spiritual voice that I look at you having a baby as such a blessing, right? That even though it don't feel that way, because how you, like you said, you got to time yourself to mourn, and you got to time yourself to do this, and but for you to be blessed with another chance to care and carry a baby, I almost am a little jealous. Might sound crazy, but it sometimes in this journey and in my mind, it's like, give me something to hold on to, and for you to have that opportunity, I want you to know that it's a blessing, and God got a great purpose for that baby. And for you, you got a great purpose for that baby.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too, because I was just like, I've been with the same guy for almost 13 years. And I was like, really, Lord, now, out of all this, I literally just told my mother 2 months ago that I was not having any kids. And I'm pregnant. Seriously? Out of all the years, 2020, are you serious? So it was definitely, I agree with you. And I'm sorry for your loss as well. I did not know. And I do feel that way now. Like, this was a blessing in disguise, because all of the turmoil that I went through in the beginning of it, I've climbed out of that position. And now I know more of what I can't expose myself to. So I definitely agree with you. I've had to tell friends who've lost relatives recently, like, look, I'm here in spirit. I'm here. I'm a text away. If you need a call, I know it. I know what you're going through. I'm still dealing with my own grief. But I definitely get where you're coming from. And thank you, because your words matter as well. Like this, I think that she does have a larger purpose. And the weird part was when people were like, well, name her Isaiah, or give her an I name. And I'm like, are y'all crazy? But then I had to remember, that's how you look, Kiki. I had to remember, people who don't know, because it's just like people who have rainbow babies, a baby after a loss. And in my case, she is my rainbow baby. And I prayed when I found out, I said, Lord, please don't make this a boy. Because the same surprise I got at 16 going on 17 when I had my son was the surprise I got at 34 going on 35 when I found out I was pregnant. And I wouldn't be able to deal if this was another little boy. Like, I need this to be a girl. And yeah, and I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying, but I was definitely feeling this way. Yeah, I was feeling like he's a blessing. Yeah, because like without her, I could have gone, like, I probably would have been grieving way worse, and I wouldn't have slowed down with the advocacy. So even, our own mental health, I can give people advice. I can be someone's, pseudo psychiatrist. I can be that person. I was helping people grieve with the loss of my child. And I was like, none of y'all think this is a little weird that I'm helping y'all grieve? That was my son, And then you have, I don't know if this happened to you all, and you can let me know, but I had relatives who all and I was telling Kiki about this, who came out of the woodworks, or distant relatives who decided to pop up, and all of them had all of these words of remorse. And I'm sitting there like, don't come to me with your feelings of guilt because you felt like you should have done more. You should have been there more. God had me and my son. Everyone that I needed in his life at that time when I needed them was present. So having these relatives who were like, well, I thought I had more time and I should have spent more time with you. I should have been there for him, or, I should have got y'all out of Baltimore City. Pause. I was here and I was fine. Everything that we needed in these moments that we needed them. Thank you so much. Everything that we needed in these moments that I needed them, everyone who needed to be in our lives were present. Even down to like my kids only get 2 weeks of going to school without me introducing myself to everybody. Because it's like, I got a black son in Baltimore. Y'all don't care about us. We don't advocate for our kids. Nobody will advocate for our kids. So I give them 2 weeks. Then after 2 weeks, I come to the back to school nights. I come and visit your teachers. I'm telling them what my name is, who I am. Thank you. I'm sorry. I just got food. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I had to really tell people, like, I don't need your remorse and I don't need your feelings of guilt, because where we were, I didn't need you. Where my son was becoming, the elevation, he had just gotten his first job. And similar to your son, he had plans on going to the Air Force. I didn't really want him to go to the Air Force, but I was like, okay, if you got to, at least go to that one. That's the chair force. That's what the people in the military call it. And it was definitely a terrifying thing just to see how people, I didn't get when they were saying like people will not know what to say to mothers until I went through that. To have a grandmother say, well, if it was up to me, I wasn't even going to let them stay in the city. I was going to send them to the county. Pause. That's you projecting your own guilt onto me because you had the means to get them out the city, but you didn't. You didn't. And if it was up to me, he would have been out of the city. But the cost of living is stupid, and we live in Maryland. So our counties are not much cheaper. So it's like, it's definitely been a lot. And I love what y'all are doing, like even allowing parents to have this voice, allowing them, because I've listened to some of your your podcast, and we need these outlets to hear what it's like when it comes to this grief, to have these voices where I'm like, okay, y'all have made it. I know I can make it. I know, and again, like I got super upset. I got super upset with people saying, God won't give you too much to bear. And I'm like, are you stupid? What? I keep getting too much. I'm over it. I'm dealing with laws after laws after laws. Like I avoided one class in college when I got my bachelor's in psych. I avoided grief counseling. They make you create your own obituary. Now, yes, they make you create in Morgan State University. If you take Death and Dying, you literally create your own obituary, because the idea is that death is a part of life and we have to be accepting of all of it. And I was like, y'all are crazy. That's the one thing I don't like.
And that is very true. Death is a part of life, but the cycle of life is usually that the child buries the parent. So you're right. Death, they right. Death is a part of life. But what I would love for them to start adding to that is dealing with when you come outside of that circle, because we're outside of that circle. So it, and I would love people to go back and watch some of them, because we had some powerful people on it talk about that circle being disrupted and what that looks like, because you're going to get so many sayings to you that people say. Time heal. That's a lie. Time don't heal nothing. Don't heal nothing. They're gonna say that. Oh, he's in a better place. No, his better place was right here with me. Who tells you who? But they don't know. And that's another thing that this platform is about. That we hope that we teach people what not to say, because there are some things that you just don't need to say.
Exactly.
You just don't need to say it because you are not, and we don't want you in this space.
Nope.
But you know, there are people on that lost mother, like you've lost your parents. So it's not just about losing a child. This platform is for dealing with all grief, right? So turn that pain into some type of purpose. Losing parents is just as hard. Losing a spouse, all of those things. But what I don't that is Margot says he's in a better place made me so angry. That drives me insane. Why do you feel like that is something to say to a grieving parent? Why?
And
But
it's like,
again, it's because they don't know.
And I think a lot of that came from way back before our time, our parents' time, when people were actually sick. When most of the people that were passing when we were younger, before we were born, were sick.
And old.
Exactly. So I think that's where that came from. But when you're dealing with trauma, our children weren't sick.
Right.
They were taken away from us violently, and they didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
So how can you say, even though this world is so crazy, but we had enough love in our heart for our children that we would love all of that away if we could. And we did. So how can you dare say they're in a better place? We don't know what better is. But I do thank God that we believe in a better place. But our better place right now is right here with us. So it's so disheartening. And that's what I know at one time on the beginning of this grief journey was the big lie. And it says, you said it. One of the biggest lies is with time and they're in a better place. And oh my goodness, pray about it.
Only think about the good memories.
You don't think I have?
If we could have, so our prayers not that strong to keep them here. If we could have prayed everything away. So it's just certain things that was sad. And people don't understand. They wouldn't want you like that. Well, they knew the love that we had for them. So they would know that we're crazy. They would know that we would be angry. They would know that we would not be okay. So how dare you say they wouldn't want us like that? What they wouldn't want, which I do agree, is for us to lay down and stay there. I do believe that.
Right.
Exactly.
What I do believe is they don't want us to die with them. What I do believe is they want us to continue to live. But if they know us like we know they did, they would definitely know that we was right where we were supposed to be at that time. Now, where we are now, it takes a lot. It has taken and continues to take a lot. So we were talking about that survivor word. No, we're constantly in survival mode. We're constantly surviving. We haven't survived. We are surviving. We're in survival mode, but we're not stuck. And that's the place that I thank God for every day, because I did not see past that pain. I did not see past the sorrow. I did not see past laying down. I did not see past that. So I know I said that to you before, Michelle. Like, I know you said that to see people that have years in makes you hopeful. And I wish that did when I was at that point. I was angry. I was jealous, but I think that anger overpowered the jealousy, because I'm just trying to figure out how you laughing. What's funny? Because my world looked dark. I'm sad. Why are you laughing? How did you get there? Because everybody wants to tell you that they're here, that they arrived. I arrived, but they never want to tell you the steps that they took, because our journey as we travel it is going to be different. But we are going to land at the same spot at some point throughout that journey. So us telling our journey and doing as you doing, speaking, because we won't know if you don't say anything. And that's the thing, bringing awareness to people that just don't know. And unfortunately, more people have to know, because guess what? After the death of Dante and Dylan, almost 8 years ago, after the death of Isaiah, more have come. Now it's more on this journey. And it's a lot that's on this journey that have said the same things. Oh, they're in a better place. You'll be okay. Oh, when I saw, I've seen, you'll be okay. What is okay?
Yeah.
What is okay?
What's okay to you that might not be okay to me.
Yeah, and then we had to be okay with not being okay. We didn't know that was a thing. Now that's the banner that goes along all of our walls. It's okay to not be okay. But we were told all our life, no, it's not. You have to be okay. But now we know, now that we're woke, that it's okay to not be okay. But we have to stand on it. And we have to stand on that. It's okay to not be okay. And Michelle, I commend you as well. I knew that Stacy would fall in love with you like I did. I did not share a lot with you. I didn't share a lot with her, because I just gained a lot of strength from your story. I know how you inspire me, you enlighten me, and you're fresh on this journey. And I can say that because where I am, and trust me, some days I'm no further than where you are, but I thank God, every day. And I can honestly say, without Stacy, people prayers, and God, he never left, even though I pushed him away and I didn't want to speak to him for a year and a half. I know that I'm only here because of that, not because of me. If it was just up to me, I would still be in the bed, not washing, not brushing my teeth, not doing my hair. Like, I would have been there, and I probably would have been okay right there if I would have still been here, because that's how much grief and sorrow, how much sorrow was taken over. But we will never, we don't even try to at this point, try to figure out what he doing up there, because we are still finding out more things with me and Stacy. We are still, our life, like, he's almost trying to do this. I called him my soul sister, like my twin flame, because every day or once a week, we're like, oh my gosh. And how did we're still trying, but he brings people into your life for reasons. And the purpose, we're still trying to figure that out, but we are moving in the purpose that he is designing. We still can't see it, because when my sister called me and said, we gotta do a podcast. And I said, okay. And this is what it is, because the conversations that we have, it needed to be put on the forefront. I was like, sis, wait a minute. We should have said this on. Even Sunday, standing in the kitchen, shedding tears for 5 seconds, But I just want to let you know, and piggyback off of Stacy, like, I commend you. When people say how strong you are, I know if you're in a bad space, it's probably not going to sound good, but I pray that when you feel more strength on those days, you take it and say yes and own it. Yes, I am. Because they see this. And what some people fail to realize is they think that grief and sorrow are supposed to look the same, and it does not. So because you're not crying every day, because you're not laying down, because you're not doing certain things, they think that maybe, wow, she's so strong. But when they look at the next person that's crying and don't have a voice, They think sometimes that they're weaker. No, it's not that. It's not that they're weak. It's not that they're strong. It's just that where they are. To be able to get this far on this journey with all this pain, like how can one individual be able to live with this much pain? Because it takes a lot.
Yeah, and I agree, and I thank you too, because to me it's like I'm still going through. We just swapped drinks, but I just got another drink. But to go through this, and it did feel like. So when people were saying it at first, it was too hard, but I've been feeling the same way. Like if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be where I am. So I've even, shared different posts where I'm like, I know that I've made it only because of Christ. Like I went through same thing because grief looks like grief. And, the one thing we don't care about, I didn't care about taking a shower, brushing my teeth. I didn't even care about moving. I didn't even want to sleep in my bed. I was sleeping in my living room. Excuse me. And it literally started to feel like even the day of, like when I say, like I thought I was going crazy. I ended up calling my aunties who are holy rollers because I believe, but I was like, y'all belief is way stronger. I had foresight a week before that something bad was going to happen, and I couldn't tell what it was, and I was uncomfortable. My son was doing the same thing that my brother did shortly before he was murdered, coming up to me from behind and just giving me a hug over my shoulders, and it scared the mess out of me. And I was like, look, I'm feeling uneasy. You just got into your first fight at school. I need you to chill. I don't think anything bad is gonna happen to you, but I'm worried because it's just been feeling bad. And he rolled one of his friends home again on the bus, and I'm like, when you ride these people home, who's riding with you? I'm not teaching you how to be a gangster or a thug. You don't have eyes behind your head. You walk around like a kid with his face in his phone. You need to, you got to be more aware. We in these streets, you got to be, present, paying attention all the time. So I was afraid, and he came home late, like the Wednesday before. Then that day, everything was just off. So I knew that it was God. I had a dream the night before that something bad happened to either my son or my boyfriend. And I was like, I woke up, my boyfriend was sitting there playing a game, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to say what I just now was dreaming to you because words have power. And I don't want to get us any power. I just had bad feelings about it. That morning, he ended up leaving out for school without taking his cell phone because he thought I moved it, but we had been taking his phone at night anyway because he would stay up all night on it. And my partner had taken it. And I was like, you just came in here with your flashlight and woke me up at 5 a.m. because you're getting ready for school. Wake him up. Ask him for your phone now. He's like, I'm not doing that. That's not nice. And I was like, what? This is what your respect looks like? That is so messed up. So he ended up leaving with an attitude because he didn't have a cell phone. And even that day I had a training for work and I came home. Mind you, the training was probably over around like 2:00. I got home around 2. And I walked in the door and I'm yelling his name. Then I'm like, wait a minute. It's still early. I'm thinking like he has a job or something. He's in school right now. All right, I'm going to chill. By 3:10, I just started having an eerie feeling. I got the call at like 3:20 that an automated call from Baltimore City Schools that there was a shooting on site. And I was like, okay, so they're detaining the kids because there was another shooting near the school. All the kids are safe though. They kept them at the school. But my reality was to get a call 5 minutes later from a freaking the principal, like, I'm so sorry. Did you hear about what happened to your son? And I'm like, are you serious? Please don't tell me this was a call for me. I'm throwing the phone to my partner. I'm like, we got to go. We got to go to the school right now. They get on the phone with him and tell him we don't need to come to the school. They're going to send someone to the house. What are you talking about? You just told me my child was shot. So the hope was that it was a limb, an arm, or something like that. But to know it was him was so, so much. To know that the entire ride to this school, I'm calling every single local area hospital. I work for the state. Like I'm familiar with how these things go. Can't give them HIPAA information. I got to give just basic stuff. And then to go through that day of just going through that grief. And even like you said, like God was preparing me because I knew something was going on. I started feeling eerie for weeks on end. A lot of us who work from home a majority of the time, we listen to true crime during the day. My true crime has switched over to nothing but Wicked Media. That was the name of it. And it was nothing but child crimes. And I'm like, listen, Isaiah, if you ever walk in the house and I'm still working, cut my phone off if you hear that mess, because I'm already feeling uneasy about you. And now nothing but child crime is popping up on my phone. To me, this feel like God is trying to give me a message to get ready, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Um, Shortly after, I got called one of my holy rolling aunts, and I told her like God had prepared me for this, and I didn't realize it. And now I'm starting to lose myself, and the devil is starting to creep in. Things that I wasn't worried about the first day. I knew that my child knew that he was loved. I made it a point about 2 or 3 years ago that every single time they left the house, I love you. You love me? How I know you love me? How you know I love you? Because I'm saying it. Tell me you know I love you in your own words, not what you hear from me. How do you know? So it's like I didn't have those feelings of remorse. And like you said, Kiki, we go through losing the aunties, the uncles, the parents, the older people who we expect to lose. Because after 20, 30 years of us getting to this age, now you've elevated, you've gotten 20, 30 years older. So we go through those older people dying that we love first. And that's one thing to deal with. But to go through this, I was just like, there's no way. So I called my aunt and I asked her, I said, look, I need a Bible or something. Like the devil is creeping in and I'm giving him too much grace. I'm giving him too much power over me right now. And fear that God didn't give me prior to is starting to creep in. And I need something. I need something to hold on to. I need something to read, something to refocus my mind. Because I couldn't read at the time, couldn't turn the TV on. I'm just literally here, just floating. And she gave me a book from one of those daily breads. And on March 6, 2023, in this small daily bread book, it said the first passage on the top was from Genesis. And it's talking about Ishmael and how his parents were praying for him. And in their time of need, God came to them and let them know that their son wasn't in pain, that he was there with their son. And the whole message was about how even though we don't think that God is there, when we need him to be there in our times of need, when Ishmael and the other woman needed, they needed God to be there with their son, he was there. Your child wasn't alone. I was there in this time of need. And I was like, well, isn't this crazy? I guess you're definitely talking to me. And I had to call these people like, I'm losing my mind now. Because I just asked for this book and literally it's a passage that I needed on the day that my child was taken. And like you said, Stacey, we definitely do. Like my child was taken. So that anger that y'all are feeling, that I'm feeling, that I still didn't let go of it. I still get extremely angry and I get peeved. Like I'm so mad because I'm like, this is not fair. And then I get even more upset for other mothers who don't quote unquote articulate themselves like me. So y'all don't listen to their stories. So media doesn't give them attention. They literally in Baltimore and in Maryland, I don't know how it is in Georgia, but they scrutinize our children before they decide if they're going to pay the fees for a funeral. Like, are you serious? I had a homicide detective contact me advocate to tell me, well, what is it that you need? Because we have services. Yeah, I'm not used to losing people in the streets and to homicide. What do you offer? If you're an advocate, advocate for me. What can you do? Give me your resources. Tell me what you have to offer. And I literally still had to push forward and advocate for myself to go through. And I know we're probably running out of time, but even like for the other parents out there, for the parents who are going to watch this podcast after, to go through the whole part of going through a funeral and seeing how, well, when it's something that's highly publicized, they want to give you the works for your funeral. They want to give you all the extra stuff, the carpets, the music, the slideshow, the this, the that. And we literally, me and my partner watched as they became salesmen of death. Just because, well, you can get this, you can get that, you can get this, you can get, I still didn't pay for it yet because I refused to. My child was murdered on Baltimore City grounds. Y'all want to say it wasn't the school campus, then you want to say it wasn't Baltimore City, then where was it? And what I'm not going to do is pay for something when this was a lack of awareness. To hear from school staff, because you find out so much stuff before the trial, while you're waiting, just from people doing their own research, kids doing their own research. I appreciated the kids at that school. They are the reason, along with the police, that the murderer was caught. Because they started doing research. They started looking up stuff. They started putting their feet to the ground because they're like, not Isaiah. to know that all of this love was coming from so many different areas. And even being able to meet women like you, y'all know I'm not letting you go. I don't let go of good people. Um, and like you said, Stacey, this is not a club that we want to be in, but unfortunately we are. And like you were saying, Kiki, there are hundreds more of us, whether it's in Baltimore, whether it's in a safer area, because Baltimore is always 1 through 10 or something. So they redline death to our city like we're accustomed to it. But if you're from this city, you don't even want your kids to be on the streets. You want them to be in the house. You want them to be safe. You don't even let them leave. So it's like, it's definitely a lot. Learning how to cope, how to grasp, how to let God just show me the signs I need him to show me, and to be accepting of it, to want to speak out, to want to be his voice, to want to keep advocating for change and awareness. Because I didn't want to hear, and that's one benefit of this year. We don't have 2 to 3 kids being murdered every single month. 2022 to 2023, that's all we heard every time you turned the TV on. Another kid, another child, another one, another one, another one. These things have to change. And more people, as hard as it is, even if it's not a podcast, even if it's not people being open enough to be, strong enough to do this, having resources and other people out there that are going through the same thing as you. Because when we go through this, and especially in the earlier stages, it feels like we're an anomaly, like we're the only one who really understands what we're going through. And only another mother or another person that's grieving the kind of loss that any of us go through. Other people don't know how to speak on it. They don't know what to say, how to say it. And even when they think they're saying the right thing, they always say the wrong thing. Like y'all were saying, I don't want to hear, well, you got to be strong for your other kids. Wait a minute. So who's going to be strong for me? What are you talking about? You want me to lie to my kids and tell them I'm strong when they see me breaking, when they hear me through the walls? I'm supposed to teach them to lie as they go through their grief and to not be honest with me? That sounds stupid. So it's like, this has definitely been an eye-opener, an eye-changing experience. I'm finding my purpose. This baby is giving me more purpose, because I was like, ooh, girl, this was the setup. God got me good with you. And I literally envied. When the people started messaging me immediately, I envied people who told me that they lost it all. They lost their families. They became alcoholics. They became drug addicts. I was so jealous. I was like, I wish I knew how to be that crazy. Right. I'm feeling so much grief. I wish I could show my grief like y'all are. Instead, I'm out here advocating, speaking up, trying to do stuff, because I can't throw myself into that. So that's what makes me a survivor. Because even when I've gotten upset in year one, and I'm like, I'm not surviving, I'm falling apart. And I'm like, nope. That's the reminder I am surviving, because this could have looked way worse. I didn't comb my hair, brush it, or anything at first. I didn't brush my teeth. I was, and I'm not where I was 6 months ago, 7 months ago, a year ago. I'm further than that. I'm closer to change. I'm way better at saying stuff about my loss, about our story, about my truth, because that is my reality. And I do hope that other people do find strength in knowing that, just like you two, I can make it to a couple of years. I can make it to 6 years. I can make it to 8 years. I can make it. And if all I can do is help other people be strong, even if they just reach out and say, look, can I vent with you? Of course you can. Shoot. It's a journey. It's not a hop and a skip. I'm going to be going through this for the rest of my life. I'm only 34. Right. So, I love you both. Just a heads up. I know.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm so happy that you have been able to turn some of your pain, because you're going to always have the pain, into purpose. We are turning our pain into purpose. And for you, that's why I applaud you, because you are so fresh in. You're a little over a year. And I started a foundation for Dylan, and last year was our first year to really do anything. So we do summer camp and spring break, and to teach, young kids a better way. But it took me 7 years to get there. It's not quite 8 years, but it will be soon. It took us this long to even get here to do a podcast to talk about it. So, that's why I do applaud you. And that's the thing. Key always say, find those tools that you need. You found your tool, and you keep adding to the toolbox. You keep adding things to do, and to keep talking, and keep advocating, and to keep helping other parents have a voice for their children, especially when they want to silence you and not have you advocate and make them do what they are supposed to do. So it's a journey. It's a new normal. You have every feeling, just to give you this little nugget. Every feeling that you have, you can have it. Every thought that you have, you can have it. Every tear that you cry, you can cry it. Everything that you need to do for you at that moment, you can do that, because you'll be everywhere you're supposed to be at the time that you're there. Because of this journey, there is never, ever, ever a time that you're going to know what the next moment going to bring. And if it's tears, let them go. If it's laughing, let it go. If it's yelling, let it go. Whatever that is, you are allowed to feel that. Don't ever let nobody tell you that you're not allowed to feel what you feel. Feel that. You carried him. He was your child. He is your child. Always will be. And nobody can change that. So I'm so glad that you agreed. I'm so glad Kiki even, was able to reach out to you. I love that, we can bring on parents and people that have a different perspective, that see, that are going they're at a different level. They're in a different phase than we are, or we've been there. We're here to let you know that, yep, you can make it to this far and further. At your point, I know. I don't even remember what I did for the first year. I don't know where I lived, what I worked. Right. I don't even remember if I worked. I don't remember what I ate. I don't remember nothing. So, all of those things are normal. What did you expect me to do? Mm-hmm. Right. Sunday was it was a whole nother something else. And I almost got to a point that I didn't think I could catch my breath. So, and I'm 7 and some years in. And I got to a point that I didn't think I could catch my breath. Because he still ain't here. So it's a daily journey, but we appreciate you. Time has been well spent, as they say.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Inviting me. Thank you so much.
Yes. We appreciate you so much. We want you to go feed that baby, because you got some food and fed that baby. And that baby is hungry. You better go feed that baby. So, I'm gonna let you have the last words. And Michelle, again, I applaud you. I appreciate you. You keep talking for your baby. Keep being his voice. Make Baltimore City pay for what they supposed to pay for. And
thank you.
I just want to thank you, Michelle, for sharing, and keep doing what you're doing. I see your purpose. I don't know how far it's gonna go, but your voice, just keep it up, Mama. That's all I can say. That voice, Isaiah's voice, Michelle's voice, Isaiah's voice, Michelle's voice is amazing. It's amazing, and it allows people to listen. So I thank you for gracing our podcast with your presence, with your voice, with Isaiah's voice. We thank you so much. Sis, oh my gosh, look at you today. Thank you for blessing me, Michelle, and all of our listeners. I didn't even want to say anything. I was like, yes. So,
don't do it. You know my nerves. Always trying to put me out there. But you know,
thank you both. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I keep talking. But
No,
that's how I deal with my grief. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's your tool. That's how you deal with your grief. So we appreciate you. We're gonna have you on again. We're gonna get an update on how things are going. And we continue to pray that things go well, that they come and justice is served for your baby.
Yes.
Thank you both. And I'll see
You're
you all
so
next
welcome.
time.
Yes, ma'am. And go feed that baby. Now, this
Yes.
is her song, girl. We got to play this song because if I don't, she don't know how to end. She don't know how to end the show, Michelle. I'm sorry.
Y'all notice that still good music. Yes.
I love it. Time well spent. Y'all have an awesome evening. Michelle, now go feed that baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We love you. Good night.
Bye.
Yes. Oh. Hey.